O'clock prompt, right? Look at that, 10 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to our Invader Hard Hat Tour. We're going to be showing off the coaster and how it, the new part of our park here. Going 40 plus years. Those that know me, I am Ron Gamble, the Senior Communications Manager here at the park. And with me today is Park President David Cromwell. You'll hear from him. Also our lead engineer at the park, Susie Chile, and Senior Engineer for Great Coasters International, the ride manufacturer in this line of house. So, David?
Good afternoon, everybody. I can take it by the turnout today that you are as excited as we are to show off our progress on Invader, Busch Gardens Williamsburg's 8th roller coaster to our family of coasters, and our park's first wooden roller coaster. So you're going to see some great progress today. I think you're going to be thrilled with what we've done since you probably last saw it, which was in that November, December time period, I would suppose. So we really look forward to showing off for you, and the anticipation with this attraction is really palpable, and we can't wait to bring this coaster to our fans, to our guests here in April. So thank you for being here today. This is just the latest example of our continued investment in Busch Gardens Williamsburg and Water Country USA, and really a key component of the overall destination of Greater Williamsburg. So we're excited to be a part of Greater Williamsburg and be able to show you the continued investment that we're making in our parks. It's very ironic being here today because if I recall, my very first day as park president was the announcement of Invader on Past Member Preview Day almost a year ago. And I was excited to, on my very first day, be able to be a part of what a great announcement and an unprecedented level of transparency into the design process, the development process, and to bring our fans along with that. And if you recall, our marketing team did a great job of teasing out some videos as we got closer to preview day, getting folks excited about what we were gonna be announcing. And then we started that very first day of our announcement with getting our fans involved by deciding the ride name. And that was just the first of several parts of the fan engagement process. Later on, our fans picked the logo, and of course, who could forget our Faces of Invader component of our marketing campaign. So all along, this has really been a journey for us with our fans. We have the greatest fans in the world. There's no doubt about that. We have the most passionate, loyal fans, and we're so excited to be able to bring this ride to Busch Gardens at Williamsburg. Some of the things that really excite me about this ride, obviously it's our first wooden roller coaster, and I think fans have been asking for years, why don't we have a wooden roller coaster, and now we do. And so we're excited to bring that to fruition finally. You'll see the integration and the interaction with our railroad and with our flume ride, which makes it very unique, and in a way I think only Busch Gardens can really deliver. And so we're excited to bring that to you as well. And I think the last part of it is at 46-inch height requirement, this is going to be a great family attraction. It's going to have the thrills of the speed and the drop, and you'll hear about that from Susie and Adam and how we've brought those components all together to make it a really family thrill attraction. So 46 inches, it could be for many young kids their very first sort of big kid roller coaster, and so what a great opportunity for that as well. So again, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your interest and your engagement and your excitement about this ride. We can't wait to show you the site. We're getting closer and closer every day. If we can get the weather to cooperate, we'll continue to make really good progress on our schedule and deliver a ride opening in April. So I'm going to hand it over to Susie Chile, and she's going to tell you a little bit about some of the technical elements of the ride. Thank you.
Thanks, David, and thanks to all you guys for coming out. Looked like it was going to be raining, but looks like the rain's finally holding off, so that's a good thing. I think David gave you a really, really good introduction to the history of Invader and how it kind of came about. We are so excited, and as you said, we're getting a lot closer than we were in November when you guys might have seen it. It's always fun when we start with the site visits, and we are even excited when there's footings and excavation and stuff like that, but you guys kind of look at that and say, wow, there's a hole in the ground, or there's concrete in the ground. So now we have a lot more to show you. The interaction between the flume and the train is unbelievable. I mean, I can't wait for you guys to ride it in a few weeks. It's really, really going to be fun. It's been interesting to build, but even in the planning stages, when we're trying to decide on the footprint, Adam with Great Coasters, who you'll talk to in a minute, he was very instrumental, and we talked about how we really wanted it to kind of thread through some of the other attractions and have the guests really feel that sense of speed going through the different areas. We tried to keep a lot of the trees and things like that. So I think you guys will really get excited. So we're going to walk through. I think we're going to divide into two groups, and we're going to walk through today. You'll see most of the track is up. There's just a small section that isn't. So during the course of the ride, you leave the station. You're going to go up over the flume, over the train track, and then there's a curve and a vertical drop, 74 feet, that goes down into a tunnel, an underground tunnel. So that's going to be really exciting. There's, I think, 9 bunny hills. I think they're airtime hills or whatever. I always like to say bunny hills. To me, it feels good. And it goes over the train track 4 times. Goes back around and then back into the station. So you'll get to see a lot of the up and down and the curves and everything. It's really going to be a fun ride for you. Like David said, 46 inches, so the whole family can ride together. It really is going to be an exciting ride for everybody, though. I mean, no mistake, this is not a kiddie ride. It's really going to be an exciting ride for everyone. And I think that's it. I think without further ado, we'll turn it back over to Ron. And Ron, do you want to divide people up, or? Oh, Adam's going to talk first. Sorry. Okay, Adam with Great Coasters. He arrived in Newport News at 1 o'clock, so we weren't quite sure he was going to make it, but he's here, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about the coaster.
Apparently I missed the memo too on the cool yellow vest, so I'm going to do without. But no, like Susie had alluded to, this ride is going to be really great. It's going to be a ride that you're going to walk up to the plaza and say, wow, that ride has been there for years. And with a ride that we can integrate in and be able to work around the log flume, work around the train tracks, work into this plaza area, to me always makes things really, really exciting, and it makes things different. And that's the effect that we want to do. We want to make you feel like Invader has been here forever. So kind of all that being said, I'm going to keep it brief. I'm going to hand it back over to Ron, and we'll break up into groups. I'm sure everybody wants to see this ride. What makes Invader unique is that a lot of the kind of nitty-gritty parts and pieces of this ride actually came from Gwazi down in Tampa, Florida. This ride is actually going to be an 8-car train versus the 12-car train that Great Coasters typically does. And so when we actually dial it down to an 8-car train, we can actually get a little more snappy, a little more twisted, a little more crazy with some of the shapes and elements that we do. And so this ride is going to feel kind of a little bit, you're going to feel those snaps, you're going to feel those twists. You're going to feel those crazy elements while you're out on the ride. And those are typically dialed in because of that smaller train, and we can do those type of things. Again, like I said, the trains and the actual brakes and this gray bar that you see here, the lap bar release in the station, these are all recycled from Gwazi down in Tampa, Florida. It's a great way to kind of save a little bit of money on this ride, and it worked out well with the park when they came to us and said, hey, can we use these parts and make a whole new ride for Williamsburg? We said, absolutely. You know, we can't, it's a great idea. And so it just made sense to be able to use that. What's great about it is it kind of created a unique experience for us, because typically we create everything from the ground up, and it's all brand new, including the trains and the brakes. And GCI staff is the people that actually build all those parts and pieces. With this ride, the maintenance personnel here at Busch was actually responsible to rebuild the trains, rebuild the brakes. Of course, we had a guy down here to kind of give feedback and give insight into the best way to do things. But what's great is the park staff already has a great hands-on experience of the ride, of the trains, of kind of the product that they're getting. So, you know, as they go into the first season of operation, things are going to be easy, they're going to be quick to fix, and at the end of the season when they tear the trains down, it's going to be a piece of cake for these guys. So it's really been a unique and great experience for us, as well as the maintenance staff here at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. If there's no questions in this area, we'll move into the transfer building and show you guys kind of how and where we store trains. The maintenance building or the transfer building, it's called the transfer building because this is what we call a transfer track. This side's a little bit unique. So this side's actually a steel rail track. It's not going to be the track that you ever run on, so you'll never ride the ride and see this steel track here. You'll actually be on the other side, which is the wood track. But we actually installed this a few years ago on a ride for maintenance and the ease of maintenance during the season. If you've ever toured any of the rides like the B&M coasters here, you'll actually see a very similar maintenance rail where they actually take the train and keep it off the main running wheels. That's kind of the idea behind this track, is we actually keep it elevated off the main running wheels. So if there is an issue, the park maintenance can come in here and switch out wheels and switch out parts very, very easily. Again, this whole entire track actually switches over. So one train will actually be stored here at night and the other train will be on the other side. If they want to bring both trains on operation, basically they'll put the first train on the lift hill, the other train will be parked here and they'll release it up to the station and move this whole track back. The transfer track will move back and you'll actually have that run-through side will be the main side you run on. Okay, in this area you can see there's kind of a lot going on. This is the main lift of the ride, so this is what we're actually going to put the energy into the train with and then push you over the top. You can see that's coming back here towards us is actually the brake run. This is going to be the main brake run that's going to bring all the speed out of you. It's actually got a little bit of a slope to it. You can actually see it's kind of got a bank to it. Whenever we use mag brakes, first of all, mag brakes are great because they bring you to a nice smooth stop at the end of the ride. But whenever we do mag brakes, we actually have to keep an air gap in between the brake fin and the actual mount that's on the track itself. So when you see that angle that's going on in that slow section right there, that's the reasoning behind that. With this ride, you can see, this is actually a great view to see this, is the ride's actually a steel structure ride. With most wood coasters that we build, they're 100% wood. But a few years back, we actually built our first steel frame wood coaster. And we did the same thing here at Busch. When we presented the idea to Busch, they realized it was a great idea to kind of cut down on their seasonal maintenance that they have to deal with. And it still looks aesthetically very pleasing. It still looks like a wood coaster. With the site that we had to deal with here, being able to go over the log flume and being able to go over the various train tracks here and things, you can see that we've got these big spans of these big steel bridges here. These bridges are the way that we can actually elevate that track and still support you and provide access for all the things that need to happen down underneath the ride. This is a great view of kind of all those bridges and things out on the ride. Is there any other questions while we're here?
Was that the biggest challenge of designing that ride, is really having to work around everything, or you guys doing that?
Sure. So with a site like this, it's always very challenging. One, because you've got the rides you got to deal with, and two, because of the topography. You'll see kind of when we go on the backside that there's a big hill over there on the back that we had to deal with. So this ride kind of took all those challenges and threw them all at us. What was really unique about Invader is it kind of dictated itself. It almost designed itself. We kind of did some first initial layouts, and as we said, okay, this track needs to go here, it absolutely had to go over there to get over the flume, to get over the train track. And so what was neat about this ride is it kind of designed itself as we went along in the process. Anything else? All right, we'll take a walk out to the park. If we basically took Invader and unwound the whole thing, this would kind of be the midpoint where we take you out and kind of bring you back if it was an out and back. But the good thing is we've taken all that and kind of twisted it all up. So as this track's taking a turn and making the bank, we actually have to drive that force down through somewhere. So these kind of supports that you'll see through here are called ladders. Up on top of the lift hill, you'll actually see the tunnel starting to take shape. So that's actually going to be sheathed in. What we're going to do is put all the wood frame on the outside of it. And eventually what's going to make for a really very awesome thing is you're going to be picking up speed as you come around this turn. You're going to really kind of get light and catch a little bit of air as you start to go into that first tunnel. Right as that ride's really cranking up the speed, you're going to end this tunnel, go into light, go into another tunnel. So it's going to make for a super, super unique, super, super exciting area as soon as you get down in there and you hit that area. Any questions out here?
The bank, the degree turn, what do we
we have on this ride? I believe the maximum banking is out on the far side, and I think we get somewhere around 50, 55 degrees out there. We'll actually take a walk out there shortly.
With the addition of the tunnel, that seemed fairly new with the animation. Was that always part of the original plan?
Yeah, so Busch Gardens Williamsburg has done a great job at kind of being able to work with the enthusiasts, work with the fans, to come up with a name, to come up with a theme. And this was kind of a surprise that they wanted to keep back. Obviously, part of the design process is we have to be able to integrate in different features. When we put a tunnel up on top of the ride, we basically got a big wind load, right? So we're gonna build a big wall, and so we have to design for that. And so we've known for quite a while now that there would be a tunnel up there, but the park's done a great job at kind of keeping that back and being able to deliver really cool and unique information like that along the way to the fans. So it's been great.
Was that also because of Gold Striker's success with their enclosed tunnel?
Yeah, you know, I think there's a lot of rides that have really great tunnels on them. And it was kind of one of those things that as we started to talk to the park, they thought, you know what? To have a couple tunnels incorporated in the ride is really going to kind of add that wow factor. So it really will. Anything else? All right, great. We're going to go out on the far side and look at that high bank turn and look at a great view of the first drop. Drainage for the tunnel. There is some there. There's actually a water level meter down there that actually shows if there's too much water and it's not draining correctly, the ride shuts down so it can be clean.
Nice.
So,
Oh my God, that's the one.
so what you guys are looking at behind me here is kind of a really unique view that you're not going to be able to see when the park opens. It's a great, clean view of the first drop. And you can see the ride's going to go from tunnel to kind of open air down to this big concrete pit behind me. All nice and straight track before you get up into this 50-degree bank turn here, where the ride's really going to start to go crazy up through here. And so with this site and the topography we have on this site, what we're able to do is dump a lot of energy into this terrain, still keep the structure relatively small. You can see we were able to dig down to the ground and be able to work with that topography quite a bit. And even on this turn behind me down the valley, you see we dropped topography even more. So we're trying to keep this energy level up the whole ride and keep it chasing us through the whole ride. And that's what's going to be a really unique feature about this ride, is typically with a coaster, you ride it, you put all that energy right at the beginning, and it kind of starts to meander out and spin around as you get to the end. This ride's going to pack a punch from start to finish, all the way you get to that nice smooth brake ride. And then again, you can see kind of some of the integration in behind me of where it goes over the flume, and some of the train tracks crossing here as well. The good thing is for this, no, it hasn't. It's always nice when the snow stays out of the way. The rain was a little crazy, but the good thing is we've had nice weather. Beautiful day today in February. Any other questions?
Someone maybe asked us, but approximately how long was this ride supposed to be?
It's around 2,000 feet long.
I didn't find that.
From start to finish building wise?
Yeah, like How many?
Oh, you mean run time?
Run time.
From top of the lift to brakes, I think it's around a minute, maybe 45 seconds, something like that. I mean, the whole experience will be about a minute and a half, 2 minutes experience.
Okay, I was just trying to get a feel for how terrified I'm going to be.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, okay, 2 minutes of my life, I think I can do it.
No, and that's been the critical piece about this ride, is that we wanted a ride that kids can ride with their parents and can ride with their grandparents. Truly, you can hit every demographic. Right.
I used to not be a win, but I am now. After I had my son, I'm terrified that he's going to move.
This is going to be a smooth ride.
This will be good.
Honestly, I will ride it at least once.
I do have a question. You said smooth. Maybe take it out. I mean, I know I'm blonde, and obviously started getting rough after more times. Is there anything to help with that on this ride?
Sure. So with Blasi, we open the ride with PVC trains, right? So you're basically taking a square or a box and trying to go through a curve, and it does this. You can feel that. So that actually damages the track as well. And so when we put our trains on it, the ride still had a little bit of track damage on the track level. And when Busch Tampa looked at it and said, it's going to cost a lot of money, they decided to close the ride. With this ride is 100% start to finish, great coaster, design-wise, build-wise, train-wise. And so being able to put our Millennium Flyers on a brand new ride like this, and one that's certainly not the scale that Blasi was, they're going to have nothing but smooth sailing with this ride.
What about maintenance side? What do you expect maintenance from far
So that was kind of the idea with the steel track, being able to take a ride and make the maintenance a little bit easier, make maintenance life a little bit easier. So the steel structure is kind of one step of that process, kind of how we fabricate track is another part of that process. The maintenance, right, we looked at the transfer building, another part of that process. So we try to look at kind of every facet of what a maintenance guy's going to have to deal with, try to make it
So I wanted to ask, I only see one queue line, but the story is villagers versus Vikings. So is there going to be a way for the guests to be able to choose whether they want to be a villager or a Viking? I was going to ask you.
Unfortunately not. Not at the time of boarding. But you can always come back and ride again.
Okay, so there's going to be a random assignment?
Random assignment. There's two different trains. One is the logger train, the other is the Viking train.
Okay.
And it's just a matter of chance which one you'll get. Okay. I do see sometimes in the stations that people juggle around. They want to be on one versus the other, so there's a possibility of that. But
well, what's
totally
the part
random.
that you're most looking forward to about this?
I can't wait for my first ride. I mean, we've got the POV.
What about it specifically? Like
the drop.
The drop?
You know, I'm real excited the whole thing really, but I'm real excited to climb, leave the station, go up the lift, look down at people that are going to be in the flume.
Right.
You might see family members or friends down at the flume that you'll be able to wave at on the way up. Once you get up, you take a little bit of a turn, and it's a 74-foot drop almost straight down. There's going to be a wooden tunnel around that. I think the framing's up for that, but the tunnel isn't yet. And then you're going to go underneath the road, underneath the flume road. So you're going to be outside, and then inside, and then outside, and then inside again. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. And I just think that's going to be a really big moment. Of course, after that, you still got a lot of airtime in the bunny hills around the rest of the ride. There's a big helix as a finale before you come back into the station, so it's going to be non-stop excitement, I think, for the whole ride. Very repeatable.
How would you say that this, not just like where it was at and that it's in the right thematic place, but how do you feel like this completes something for the park and adds to your overall concept and what you do here at the park?
Right. Well, besides the fact that we've always wanted to do a wooden coaster, and this is the perfect place for it.
Right.
I think the 46-inch ride height is a big deal.
Right.
David touched on that. David Cromwell, our park president, touched on that. And I think it's we're such a family park, and it's so neat that the family can ride together. Now, little teeny ones aren't going to be able to ride it, but we still have Sesame Place, or Sesame Forest of Fun over on the other side of the park for them. But once they get to be 5 or 6 years old, they'll be able to ride this ride with the rest of their family, and they'll feel like a big kid, and it's going to be a lot of fun for the adults as well. So I think that's kind of a really neat thing that we've been able to accomplish with this ride.
And one last question. So, not just the story, but how would you say, for you personally, what has this meant to you to be involved in the project? If you can say that, like, we get to talk to other people that do construction. They say, well, like, this is the first one that I built that my kids, like, got to ride with me, or this is, you know, my first. Is there anything that you want to say? You don't have to if you don't want to, but is this a special, like, first or meaningful for you in any kind of special way?
That's a really good question. I mean, it's been an awesome experience to be part of the ride from the very beginning, from the concept through the design, through the construction, and finally through opening. I think that's been really, really fun for me. I've been involved with a lot of the rides at different spots here and there, but for this one to be involved from start to finish, I think it makes it really special for me.
Okay. Well, there you go.